for themselves. But the Board of Governors' actions today go against that very principle. Today, the Board of Governors is embracing censorship, plain and simple. The Board of Governors' actions today are bad for students. When young people take the brave step of continuing their education by going to college, they do so to open their minds. They want to be exposed to new ideas and new ways of thinking. They want to learn how to think, not what to think. But empowering the Board of Governors to unilaterally make decisions about curricula will dilute the quality of our students' education. Our faculty across the state of Florida are disciplinary experts. They frequently hold terminal degrees and are often the world's leading experts in their areas of study. They bring expertise and experience to best determine what students need to know to succeed in the world. Educators, and not politicians or political appointees, know how to educate. Let us do our jobs. At the end of the day, this is not too complicated. Consolidating power and enabling government overreach into classrooms is not the answer. Letting our students learn is. I'm very glad that we have a number of people here today who will speak more eloquently than I possibly could. And now I'll turn over to Carol Bronskis, Vice President of the Florida Education Association.
Good morning, everyone. My name, as Mark said, is Carol Bronskis, and I'm an ESC paraeducator from St. Johns County, as well as the Vice President of the Florida Education Association. Let me start by thanking UFF Chapter President Mark Halley for the kind invitation to be here today. On behalf of our President, Andrew Spar, and our Secretary-Treasurer, Nami Riley, a FAMU English professor and a member, the Florida Education Association believes that all adults should be able to choose the courses and the curriculum that they feel are beneficial to them and their coursework. When our government limits academic freedoms through censorship, you are limiting how far and wide a student can learn and how far they may be able to go in life. Imagine a healthcare practitioner who didn't know the intricacies of racial discrimination because she wasn't allowed to take the class on it because someone who was not an expert thought it was too woke. I believe we have folks who are making these rules and decisions who are not listening to the experts in the room on the impact of limiting classes or curriculum for those learning in a higher educational facility. We have seen the censorship in K-12 public schools with book bans, empty classroom libraries, allowing fringe groups to dictate what teachers can or cannot say what they teach. I've personally seen educators with more than 20 years of experience remove their classroom libraries for fear of being brought before the school board and accused of exposing a child to a book a parent did not want them to read. But what about the parent who wanted their child exposed to all types of literature? Book bans harm all students, but now the path has been paved in K-12 and has been extended to censorship in higher education. I am a parent of a college student here in Florida, and like all parents and guardians, I want my adult child to receive a well-rounded education that will set him up for future success. Denying him particular classes or curriculum puts him at a disadvantage in the workforce. Like all parents and guardians, my husband and I certainly want our son to have every opportunity to fulfill his dreams and take whatever coursework he chooses to attain that dream. Let me end with I hope that all students in Florida have the same opportunities that students across our country have. A censorship-free learning environment to fulfill their dreams and aspirations, whatever they may be. I hope all those in higher education and academia have the freedom to teach their students a censorship-free curriculum in whatever coursework they feel meets the needs of the program their students are attending here at UNF and around the state. Thank you for your time, and with that, I will turn it over to Matt Leon, UNF UFF faculty and grievance chair.
I've worked with veterans from small towns. I've worked with engineers from major metropolitan areas. And the one thing that once you have can never be taken away from it. It doesn't matter if my house burns down. It doesn't matter if I'm thrown out of the state. I will always be doubtful. It's one of those things that I will carry with me for my entire life. And that's what the Board of Governors is trying to take away from the students. Is the ability and the tool set and the knowledge to navigate the incredibly diverse and complicated world. Removing courses, removing information out of fear or malice or even good intentions doesn't erase that information. It just removes the ownership of it from the state. It removes the ownership of it from people who have America's best interests at heart and allows that information to be owned by any other actor in the state. We live in an age of information. Knowledge is power, and it cannot be denied. It cannot be restrained. And putting on removing censoring education cannot and will not make us better as a state, as a nation, as a society. I was born and raised in a small town in Alabama where education was not the most supportive thing in the world. I was able to leave when I was 22, 23 years old. I was a civilian research scientist for the Navy at the Letters Foundation. I got my PhD when I was 27 years old. I worked inside it over 1,000 times. I'm proud of those things. But when I tell people that, all they say is, "You don't sound like you're from Alabama." And that's not a compliment. And I don't want my kids or your kids who are likely going to be successful to have every accomplishment that they've made be marred by someone saying, "You don't sound like that." Because that's not a world we need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Carol. We've heard a lot today from educators talking about the freedom to teach, but I think it's important for us also to hear from students talking about the freedom to learn. So I'd like to turn it over to Calvin Pell, a student here at UNF.
Thank you very much, Norman. My name is Calvin Pell. I am a student here at UNF and an officer of UNF Students for Democratic Society. We are a student activist organization, and we stand in solidarity with faculty here at UNF. DeSantis is using the university system of Florida as a battleground for his culture war. He and his appointed board of governors have abandoned the genuine pursuit of education to score political points by removing DEI programs. They claim they're simply removing dangerous schools of thought that seek to indoctrinate the next generation, but they are simply lying. They are the ones trying to use education to indoctrinate young minds with a one-sided, chauvinistic, and racist history. Patriotic education is not education, it is simply propaganda. America's true history is immersed in the struggle of the marginalized to achieve rights and representation. It is this history that they're seeking to remove. The history of black, queer, indigenous, working class people struggling against a system that has no place for them. By looking back at their oppression, we see the oppression that still exists today. By looking back at their struggle, we see how to effectively unite against it. This is why when they say critical race theory or DEI programs or woke, what they mean is whatever helps marginalized people recognize their own history or find solidarity with each other. The American education system has always been used this way, from re-educating boarding schools, erasing indigenous culture, to the perpetuation of segregation by every other name imaginable. What we face now is only the newest war. It is necessary for students to stand together to protect their own education, and it is necessary for us to stand with faculty. For they target our own professors, they target their departments as a way to put their goals into practice. Students and faculty are inextricably linked together in their struggles. You cannot fully advocate for students without advocating for faculty. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin, and thank you for everyone coming here today. We really hope that the Board of Governors will see reason and make decisions today today that are in the best interests of our faculty, our students, and the entire state of Florida. Thank you.
I get interviewed.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.